Welcome, everyone. I'm Bridget Hardy, the Assistant Training Chair. Dorothy is on vacation, so I am stepping in for her today as hosting. I would like to introduce you to Miss Janice Lamy. Did I say it right? She is the System Vice President of Marketing at Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady Health System. Welcome, Miss Janice. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bridget. And for those of you who have never heard of Franciscan Missionaries, we actually have Our Lady of the Lake Health System here in Baton Rouge, as well as Our Lady of Lourdes in Lafayette, St. Francis Medical Center in Monroe, and then Our Lady of Angels in Bogalusa. And about a year ago, we acquired St. Dominic's in Jackson, Mississippi. So we're now a multi-state organization. So very happy to be here today with you. And thank you so much for joining. I hope that you'll get out as much as I'm trying to give today and learn some things along the way. What I'm going to do is share Creating Your Success Plan. This is a program I've created over the past couple of years. And it's just one of those things that just sort of came out of me sort of magically. I'm going to tell you that story as we get started. But the way it's designed to really to help you take your career to the next level, if that's what you're interested in doing, and help empower you to accept accountability for your success and be even more focused than ever. So let's jump in. So first, just a little bit about me and that journey I was talking about that led me to be here with you today. On a personal note, I married 31 years to the same man. Somehow he's put up with me. I just ran him out of the house so he wouldn't be making noise during this, this webinar. Together we have a wonderful family. We have a daughter who is in Dallas now. She's in interior design. A stepson and a daughter-in-law, and we're expecting our first grandbaby, which is really exciting as well. We have 2 dogs who are now in their kennels, so they won't interrupt us, hopefully. I have 1 brother, 9 sisters-in-law, 7 brothers-in-law, which obviously I married into a big Catholic family. And I don't know how many nieces, nephews, grandchildren, great-grandchildren are in the family now, but it's upwards of over 100. So that's a big family. From a professional perspective, I've been working for a little bit over 30 years, primarily in marketing in the healthcare industry. I've done consulting. I've worked with large and small systems, community hospitals, women's hospitals, one of those places here in town, for and not-for-profit health systems, faith-based, which is where I am now with our Franciscan missionaries. I've worked on the payer side with large provider groups, and I've moved my family no fewer than 5 times. And I can tell you, as a woman doing that, it's hard. A lot of mommy guilt, a lot of wife guilt, but each and every one of our moves has been beneficial to everyone, which I'm happy to be able to report. But of course, that is not why I'm here with you today. On June 25th, 2018, my world changed dramatically. I went to my regular weekly meeting with our newer CEO. He had been in his role for about 90 days. And I had been in my role there as Assistant Vice President of Marketing for right next to 4 years. And so through that 4 years, we had gone through a lot of upheaval and turmoil. The system I was working for had been bought by a national system. So in the past, being its own little renegade system in Houston, now it was part of this much larger organization, which changed things tremendously. So we went through, I mean, literally hundreds of people churning through that system from a leadership perspective. Started with 6 hospitals, and all of a sudden we were 17 hospitals. And it was mind-boggling what we went through. The leader who joined just after I did was ousted along the way. He didn't really get along with the national system too well. Unfortunately, he was a great guy. I really enjoyed working with him. And so then we had the new guy in for 90 days. And I was going in for my regular meeting with him, and he walked in, and the HR leader walked in with him. And I was like, this is never a good sign. And sure enough, he was announcing his restructure, and he wanted to bring in his own team and do some restructuring in terms of the roles in the senior leadership team. And my role was one that was being eliminated, which was a shocker. I did not see it coming. So as they sat there telling me that it wasn't about Janice, and I was thinking, well, wow, it sure feels like it's about Janice. They also told me that I was getting a really nice severance package. So that was good to hear. But, you know, as I walked out of there, back to my car, I was just left with what the, what just happened? I mean, this never happens. I was doing well. I got good performance reviews. How could this have happened? You know, and then more importantly was why. As you get through the whole, I get it. New leaders come in all the time and restructure. And as I went through this outplacement service, I learned that this happens to really good people all the time. But I felt like there was a deeper why. And I really wanted to understand. It was like the universe was knocking me in the head and wanted me to pay attention to something. But I wasn't quite sure what that was. So I kind of gathered myself together and I was like, okay, well, what's next? Well, it seems to me that the object of this game, if I have a nice severance package and have a salary that's going to expand over a nice period of time, the object of the game is to find a new adventure, a good one, quickly. So I have 2 salaries for a period. So I went about doing that, networking, which was so much fun. It reminded me how important networking is. And that's a big piece of the book, is talking about how and why to network. So I got a lot of support from people I hadn't talked to in years and met new people. And then I got to act like a stay-at-home wife, which was amazing. It was something that I was always a little bit jealous of, those women who got to stay home. I know there's challenges there. I know there are. But I got ClassPass. And I don't know if you guys know what that is, but in Houston, it's an app you can get. You pay a monthly fee and you can go to virtually any workout studio you want to. So I got back into hot yoga. I got into personal training. I'd love to say that's me in that picture, but it's not. I can aspire. I started eating healthy, really cooking nice, healthy meals for my husband and myself, and basically de-stressed. And during that time, my back fat fell off, which was such a good experience. Now it's come back, especially with COVID, but I'm working on it. But I kept being left with a sense of why did this happen? I mean, I'm really enjoying this time. It's phenomenal. And I was really proud of myself for approaching it the way I did, but I felt like there was a deeper why. I just needed to understand what it was. So I took some time to think, and I mean, really fully, deeply think. I had plenty of time. I was getting paid to think, so why not? And I really came up to starting this journey that's leading me here today. I started working on identifying my core values, and it's something I never thought about before. And many of us don't. We do it for our employer. Why don't we do it for ourselves? So really getting into what matters to me most. And I created a focus statement for my life, much like we might maybe have a mission statement for our employers or for our companies. But why not for ourselves, right? I learned about the law of attraction, and there is a ton of literature out there. And if there's nothing else you gain from this today, go learn about that, because it's working in your life, whether you realize it or not. And basically it's whatever you're putting out into the universe is what you're going to get back. So if you're putting out positivity, you're going to get positivity. If you're putting out negativity and lack, you're going to continue to get that. It's a huge, huge thing for people to realize. So again, if you do nothing else after today, please look into that. But all of this was just the tip of the iceberg. It was phenomenal work. It was so freeing and so invigorating, but it was really just getting started. Along the way, about 4 months' time, I found my next adventure, which is right here at Franciscan Missionaries. I was so happy to be able.
Hey, we just lost Janice's
Janice, you're
sound.
on mute.
Okay, is that better?
Can you guys hear me?
I'm sorry. They said they were getting enough feedback, and then I tried to mute everyone, and that's what I did. And then I muted you too, Janice. Sorry.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Bridget, it might be helpful if you mute.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Is that better, everybody? Raise your thumbs. I really can't see you. Hopefully this is better. So along the way, I did find my next adventure, which is here in Baton Rouge with Franciscan Missionaries. Came home. We're here now with my stepson and his wife, who had just gotten married at that time, and now they're expecting, again, a first grandbaby, which is just, we're in the right place. We're right where we're supposed to be. And I can't go to the next. I'm not able to advance the slides again for some reason. I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute. And I'm going to try to share again. Okay, there we go. Yay. But I still had this nagging feeling that I needed to do something more, but I didn't know what it was. It wasn't, I'm in the right job, I'm doing the right thing, but there's something more I'm supposed to be doing. And it's like, okay, I'm listening, universe, but what is it, right? Then I got my first boom. And that is what I really like to do is help women navigate their careers. I want to help address the gender disparities in leadership roles in a positive way. And I really believe that the only way to do that effectively is one by one, each of us taking responsibility for what we're doing in our careers. And this success plan is a big piece of that, in my opinion. And from that, I really kind of developed this mission, which is to impact a generation of women in a positive and meaningful way. And I'm telling you, this stuff just came out. I didn't sit there and, okay, with this word or that word, it just, boom, it was on the paper. And so I'm looking at this and I think that this is wonderful. I have no idea how to do this. I mean, I've probably mentored maybe 12 women in my 30-year career. How am I going to do this on the scope of a generation of women? So I sat and thought about that for a while, and then I got my next boom, which was write a book. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, you can get a book in the hands of as many women as you can get it out there too. So that's good. Maybe it's a guide for navigating your career. But I had no idea how to write a book, never wanted to write a book. It was not on my radar at all. But then I learned online how you can get a book published on Amazon, which is not that difficult. And bought into this service that helped kind of navigate me through writing a book, getting it edited, getting the cover design and all that. It's all just fell into my lap. And so that is where the Success Plan program was born. And that is why I'm here with you today, to share what that is. So let's get into it. The Success Plan formula is provided out in 3 phases. The first one is developing your core values and focus statement, much like I did. And then you get into 10, 5, and 3-year goals. And that's the framework that I've suggested. 10 years scares some people to death, so don't worry about that. If 3 years makes more sense for you, go with 3 years, 1 year, whatever. But make sure that you start. Because even if you do a 3-month plan and you get a 3-month plan and you see what you've been able to accomplish, then maybe you can expand that out to a year and so forth. But you just got to start somewhere. And then your personal marketing as a marketer, of course, I put that in there. Let's talk about phase 1, core values. First of all, you need to create a list of 10 to 15 values to get you started. And so what are values? I've got a worksheet here that I'll provide you after this webinar if you're interested, along with a few other worksheets. But this is just got a list of a few values you might consider. You can go out and Google values and just begin to see what resonates with you. For example, my most important core value is authenticity. So you see that listed there. You might be interested in being health focused. You might want to get into, fast pace. I mean, that's the kind of thing that really gets you excited about or get you going in your career. But make that list of 10 to 15. You have to narrow it down to 5. And the reason for 5 is that's about as many as you can really stay focused on. So you've got all these 10 to 15. Some of them kind of marry together and some of them are individual, but you just spend time kind of working through which really, really resonate with you. So you need to take time to do that. The next thing you have to do is rank them in priority order, and I'll show you why that's important in a moment. And then define each one of them as what they mean to you. Your definition of authentic might be very different from mine, and that's fine because it's your core value. So here's an example from the book. I've got Jane and Tricia, 2 fictitious characters, and they have chosen the exact same list of core values, but they've ordered them very differently. So let's look at Jane. She has finances, growth, achievement, recognition, and excitement. Patricia took excitement first and finances last. Excitement, achievement, growth, recognition, and finances. So even though these women have the exact same list of core values, they'd probably be very different, wouldn't they? Yeah. Now let's look at how they might define finances. It was Jane's number 1, just number 5 value. And by the way, number 5 is not unimportant. It's just as you prioritize them, that's the least important of your most important values. So Jane might say, I'm focused on aggressively growing my income to keep pace with my career achievements. I save an appropriate amount each month to support reaching my goals to invest and buy a home. And Tricia might say, I appreciate the income I make from doing work that I love. I invest in myself and give to charities that align with my values. So again, two very different approaches, and both of them very valid. So after you've gotten your core values, then you begin developing your focus statement. And this is one or two present tense sentences that connect each of your core values in order of importance. So if finance is your first one, you want to address that one first. It's got to be concise, easy to remember, and it's really designed to help you stay focused on what matters most. So here's a couple of examples. Back to Jane. My career path offers ample opportunities for increasing my salary and growing professionally. I'm able to achieve great results and receive the recognition I deserve, which is exciting for me. Patricia might say, I've chosen a career that offers excitement and the opportunity to achieve amazing things. There are plenty of opportunities for growth and recognition, and I'm able to live comfortably. So you can see how Jane's increasing her salary and Trisha's living comfortably. Two very different people. Now, as I went through this process and I had those 10 to 15 values, there were some on my list I just didn't want to get rid of. And so I said, well, whenever you're working, developing mission, visions, value statements, sometimes you have supporting behaviors. So why couldn't I just put them in there? And this is optional. You don't need to do this necessarily, but it helps kind of guide your behavior toward living your core values. So again, you would list them out. I think I have about 5, and I'll share them with you in a moment. And they have to have a definition, just like you did for your values. So these are mine. My core values are authentic, mindful, grateful, responsible, and wholehearted. And I support those by being balanced, creative, optimistic, connected, and focused on wellness. Make sense? It's fun. Sometimes when I'm out on a walk, I just kind of recite those to myself and just keep really focused on them. It's helpful. And here's the definition, a couple of examples here. So for balance, and you tie them to your values, and I've highlighted those here. So I'm mindful to maintain a good balance between my work and personal life in support of my values to live authentically and wholeheartedly. And for connectedness, I realize and appreciate the connection between all people and nature and use this connection to live life more fully. So this takes a lot of work, but as you're going through it, it's very freeing and energizing. And it can be frustrating sometimes too, but at the end of the day, it's just a really cool process to go through. So after you've done all that work, now it's time to get into setting your goals. And again, I've got a 10, 5, and 3-year framework, but you can set that up in any way you want to. Before we get into goals, I want to talk a little bit about obstacles you might face in this process, because we all have them. We all have those blockers. Well, the first one's fear of failure. Well, what if I do this and I can't reach my goals? What if I do this and I look silly? What if I fail? I'm afraid to fail. I don't want to look bad. Let that go. Because whenever you've learned your best lessons, it's probably been out of failure. And was that really a failure then, if you learned and grew from it? So try to reframe failure by trying and learning. It's trying and learning, and we all do it all the time. So let that go. Limiting beliefs. I had not heard much about limiting beliefs in the past before I started doing this work. I can tell you, going through this process, I found one that a lot of people have very deep inside, and it was that I didn't deserve success. A lot of us feel like we don't deserve it. We've got to be a better person. We did something wrong and we don't deserve good stuff. Mine was from a time when I was about 10 years old. And as I uncovered all that, I looked at it and I was like, how silly is this? Not to laugh at myself, but how silly is it to let something that happened when I was 10 years old hold me back from really fulfilling what I want to do with my life? So, and it comes up from time to time too, and I just have to say, thank you, go away. So think about that as you feel anything that's limiting you, anything that's telling you you can't have something that you want, it's probably a limiting belief. And this is one we all have too, the myth of perfection, especially as women. We have to be perfect, we have to look good. Well, I'm not going to be able to put this plan together because it's not going to be perfect. And what if I get down the road and I want to change things? Then it's not perfect. And guess what? Your plan probably will change, especially as you push it out over that longer period of time. Because things happen, right? There's disruptive technologies that come up. Something might really you had never heard about, and you want to go in that direction, and that's fine. But the most important thing is to just start somewhere and Don't be perfect. Nobody is. Next thing I want to bring up is visualization and giving up the how. So the devil is in the how. As you recall, when I was talking about my sort of journey, and it was like, okay, you got to write a book. And I don't know how to write a book. You know, how am I going to impact a generation of women? What? But these hows came to me at the right time, and they will. If you believe in your goals, give up how you're going to do it. As you're writing your goals, don't say, oh, I've got to keep this kind of small because I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Make them big. Because if you stay focused on them, you're going to figure out how to do it, and that how is just going to come to you. So give up the how. And then as you're writing your goals, keep visualization in mind. And I'll give you a couple examples in a bit. But in the book, I get more into visualization, but it's important that you visualize your goals on a regular basis, even daily if possible, so that they are right here all the time, and so that you are open to any of those hows that might be coming your way at any time, any ways that you can enhance what you're moving forward with. The visualization is really important, so you want to put some indicators in your goals that will help you visualize, and I'll help you understand that in a sec. Okay, so you start off with your 10-year aspiration statement, or your 3-month, or your 3-day, whatever your period of time is, where you want to be in that period of time. And we start at the end and work back to the beginning because you kind of want to know where you're headed, right? So we start at that ultimate 10-year whatever mark. And then you write a paragraph basically about what it looks like to have reached your 10-year aspirations. So where do you want to be? What stage of your career? What types of responsibilities? What does your workplace look like even to help visualize? What does it feel like to achieve the success? So how's it feel? That emotion, what's that going to feel like to get where you want to be? And then how have things changed in my personal, financial situation? Most importantly, how are you living your core values? Keep those things in mind. So here's what might be Jane's 10-year aspiration statement. I have a very successful and rewarding career and have advanced to a senior leadership position in the financial industry. I have an opportunity to move into a VP role within the next 3 to 5 years. So she's thinking past that 10 years, which is interesting. For me, I'll be retired in 10 years, so we'll see what happens then. She goes on to say, I've purchased my own home in Chicago where I've always wanted to live. See, a little bit more in there. With a park nearby to help visualize. My team at work is high-performing, focused, and consistently reports positive metrics of success. So those are the kinds of details you can put in there. Again, it's your vision, it's your aspiration, so have fun with it. Make it up, make it big. Then you get into your goals. So you've got where you want to get to in 10 years. So 5 to 7 goals that help you, enable you to live those aspirations. And they have to be present tense as though you're already there, because when you're visualizing that you're there today. Consider these kinds of things, but you can also consider others, type and role of industry, level of leadership, work environment, work-life balance, income, and career growth opportunities ahead of you, just like in that example. What's next after 10 years? So here are 2 of Jane's 10-year goals. I'm serving in a senior director role at a Fortune 500 organization in the financial industry, supervising a team of more than 15 professionals. I have an office with a beautiful view. So you can see how you're bringing to life some visualization there, as well as connecting that to your 10-year aspiration. I'm preparing myself to advance to a vice president role within the next 3 years with my current employer. I have a mentor within the organization who advises me. And I would advise you, whether you put it in your goals or not, if you don't already have mentors, definitely identify one or more. So then, okay, so you got your 10-year goals. Then you back up halfway to whatever your period of time is. What's going to get you halfway there, right? It becomes easier once you kind of know where you're headed. Again, present tense, consider these areas. And one of the ones I want to point out here is the value that you're bringing to the organization should be in your goals too. Always want to bring value, okay? So here's a couple. I'm serving in it as, remember where she was at 10 years. So here she's at 5 years, serving in a senior coordinator role in a Fortune 500 organization in the financial industry. This position offers me significant opportunities for growth. My income level has increased by 40%, and I'm saving money to buy a condo in Chicago where I recently relocated. So she's wanting to relocate to Chicago within 5 years. Pretty cool aspirations, okay? So you see how this begins to make it more doable, more tangible as you're working through this. And when you get to your shortest term goals, and in this example, it's 3 years, you add milestones. And those are just little measurements to get you to that goal. As you reach your 3-year goals, then you would begin to add milestones to your 5-year goals to kind of break those down. So you feel like you're making progress and you can celebrate those steps as you move forward. So again, 3 to 5 goals this time. Consider these areas: position status, any lessons you may have learned. Network development will be key in this first phase. Again, the value you bring, and then positioning yourself for advancement. And then 3 milestones for each or more if you'd like. So here's one example. I've taken on additional duties in my coordinator role at a mid-sized organization in the financial industry. I'm focused on advancing to the next level within 2 years at a larger employer in Chicago. So how do you break that down? Well, assign 3 new duties, take on those additional duties. You might put a time frame there, you might not. It could be, I want 3 new duties in the first year, I want 3 in the first 3 years. You know, begin to think through that. A promotion to a senior coordinator role, and then obtained a senior coordinator role with one of my targeted employers, could be another one. Another example, I researched the industry to identify my next employer and have made 5 connections in Fortune 500 organizations located in Chicago. I will join one of them within the next 2 years. That's a bold statement. What if she doesn't? It's okay, just wasn't meant to be that time. But put it down on paper, focus on it, and see where life brings you. So how would these milestones look? Completed research to identify 5 potential employers. So you put that down as a thing, you get to check it off your list. If you're a list maker like me, that's so much fun. So just write down what it is that's going to get you to that goal. You made contact with an influencer, each of my 5 prospects, and then expanded my network to include 10 financial industry contacts who can open doors for me in Chicago. So those kinds of things, just be resourceful in how you're going to reach that goal. All right, so that's the goals. That's going to take some time and may come very easily for you. And it may take some time and help from others, and talk to your friends and people that you trust, your mentor, that kind of thing, but you can do it. So once you've got that done, it's time to develop your personal marketing plan. And the cool thing about this is it's steps you can begin taking today. It's not stuff that's going to happen 10 years from now or 3 months from now. It's stuff that you can do today and probably already are, whether subconsciously or consciously. The first thing you want to do is develop your brand statement and promise. And this is for your brand. This is what we do in marketing for brands that we work with. What does that brand stand for? What does that brand, what can people expect from that brand? And what does that brand bring to you consistently each day? So think about that for yourself. And that's pretty empowering. So that's kind of an internal look. And then the brand promise is more the external, what people are perceiving you as. So what's your brand promise that you want people to get about you? Okay. Now here's an example. A brand statement could be, I'm a dedicated professional focused on providing value to my employer, guidance to my team members, and the continual advancement of my career and income. I value working hard toward my goals and enjoy life in and outside the workplace. That's kind of a longer piece, but then you get your promise that's succinct. And it's what you want people to think about you, how you want to be perceived. I stand out as a leader and bring value to the organization. I love what I do and enjoy life to the best of my ability. That's a pretty good brand promise. So once you have that in place, you begin to develop your positioning objectives. And in marketing, the positioning objectives is how you want to be perceived as you work toward those goals. And that's kind of based on that brand statement and promise, right? But you're fleshing it out a little further. So it's what you want to achieve as a result of marketing yourself. And again, present tense. Some examples are, I'm considered a leader among my peers and a rising star in the organization. If that's your positioning objective, that's a good one. And you're going to be thinking about how to be that person each and every day. I can be relied upon to always beat deadlines and often go the extra mile to achieve goals. And this is probably what most women on this call already do. But if you made it one of your positioning objectives, it makes it even more of a focus. And I lead my team with confidence and focus on supporting their professional growth. Again, if you have that in writing, it's a positioning objective, you'll remember to support your team members' professional growth on a consistent basis instead of now and then. Now, Next up is your target audience. So these are the people to whom you are marketing yourself. And it might seem obvious, but writing it down gives it focus. So in your examples, you need to be very specific. So if it's board members, which ones? By name. If it's key leaders above your current level, which ones? By name and position. If it's colleagues, again, names, names, names. And if you want to include your family in there because you want them to be proud of you, go ahead, go ahead. The target audiences are very key because then you'll know if you're in a room, there's a target over there, there's a target over there. You want to influence them in some way. Then you get into your tactics, and tactics are the specific actions you're going to take to achieve your positioning objectives. And they fall into these 6 areas at a minimum. You can add to them, but definitely address at least these. So your personal presentation, that's how you show up each day. That's not only what you're wearing, it's how you engage. It's that first impression. And you can make first impressions over and over again. Someday you might be like, oh, great person, first impression. The next day you might be shut down, not great person, first impression. So be thinking about that personal presentation all the time. Then your level of preparation. What are your tactics to be prepared for your day? Do you have 3 objectives for each meeting that you go into? Do you research the purpose of the meeting so you don't just walk in going, okay, what's this meeting about? That kind of thing. Being prepared, being on. Your degree of accountability, this is a big one. You will stand out as a leader if you are not blaming others for things that happened under your watch. So my rule of thumb is, if it happened under your watch and it's a good thing, share with everybody that was involved in that win. If it happened on your watch and it was a bad thing, a mistake or a failure, or whatever, take full responsibility of that. And then your added value is, what more could you bring to your interactions each day? Let's say you're going to a meeting with your leader and she is the moderator and could really use some help capturing action items. Offer to do that. Hey, it's not like making yourself belittle because you're now like the note taker. No, you want to help with capturing action items. You want to help get that out after the meeting. That's a big help for your leader. So what kind of added value could you bring each day? And the last 2 I want to get into a little bit more: your elevator speech and your daily interview. So your elevator speech is that thing that you have prepared in your back pocket in case you get in an elevator or some other space with one of your targets. It's that first impression that you want to make. You don't want to lose that opportunity to make the impact that you really intend to. So what you want to do is kind of talk about your role, key proof point, and even future intentions. So here's an example. I'm currently serving in a role that, well, it might start off like this. Oh, hey, Jane. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great. So-and-so. Well, Jane, I don't think we've really met before. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And then you jump into it. I'm currently serving in a role that enables me to make a positive impact in the organization. And that's important to me. So for example, and here's your key proof point, our most recent report on key metrics showed a positive trend for the last year and 10% growth toward our strategic initiatives over the past 6 months. I've been here 3 years now and look forward to continuing to grow with the organization. So if you met a young person or even a mid-career person who the first time you really got to engage with them shared something like that, and it has to be real and authentic, obviously, that'd be pretty impressive. So be ready for that. Get your elevator speech together. Daily interview, I cannot emphasize enough. Each day you are interviewing for your next opportunity. We know that. We know that. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody I was mentoring come up. I just don't know when I'm going to be able to get that promotion. When I'm going to get that promotion. Girl, get on that. You're interviewing for that promotion every day. And if you're sitting there whining about getting it, it's not helping. So your entire marketing plan is at play in your daily interview. Did you visualize yourself consistently nailing your personal presentation, being prepared for each part of your day, being accountable for your successes and mistakes, and sharing your successes, and then adding value to each interaction using your elevator speech appropriately? Boy, that should make your heart sing. You're doing that consistently. You are a rising star. All right. So then you get into measurement tracking. This is why do something if you can't measure it. So how are you going to measure your progress toward achieving those positioning objectives? So you'll need to write 2 to 3 measurements for each positioning objective. So here's one example. I'm considered a leader among my peers and a rising star in the organization. So how are you going to know if you've done that? Well, certainly your annual performance evaluation, maybe quarterly informal feedback from your leader. And if she's not providing quarterly touch points, maybe you ask her to. She'd probably be impressed. And then maybe a number of important projects assigned to me. Any of those kind of measurements you can put against each objective will help you realize when you're meeting them. So that's it. You've got your core values and focus statement, your longest term, midterm, and shortest term goals, and then your personal marketing plan. That's a success plan. And you can do it. I promise you, if you create your success plan and you stick with it, which is probably the hardest part, you will be successful. I have no doubt. So I just want to offer you something to help you out with this. You wouldn't even have to necessarily get the book. You get these 15 success plan worksheets that I can send to you via email. All you need to do is either text your name and email address to that phone number there, 281-216-8138, or just email me, easy to remember, Janice at creatingyoursuccessplan.com. You can see the core value worksheet is there as well as several others. So I'm happy to share that to you just because you're here today. And the only request I have of you is to visit the website and learn more about the Success Plan program, and then please share it with others, because that's the only way we're going to get to scope and scale with this, is to have more women who are achieving more by creating their own success plans. Look at the online seminar, look at the online community, and then please give me feedback on, like this really resonated with me, but this didn't make any sense at all. I would love to get that feedback from you because it'll help refine the program. And then my last thing is just to invite you to listen to life. Notice those intuitive nudges along the way. That hit upside the head with my position elimination that I shared with you earlier was a huge one. There are a lot of small ones every day, little nudges, intuitive and inspirational nudges to take action towards your goals. And then realize that each of us has a gift to share. And if you haven't found yours, do find it. It's really just right there. And then please greet each day with personal responsibility, empowerment, and possibility. And one by one, we're going to address the gender disparities in leadership. And one by one, we're going to become so successful that the world's not seen it yet. Mm-hmm. So that's my presentation. I'm definitely open to taking some questions. We've got a little time left.
Liz says, thank you, Ms. Janice. That was awesome, very awesome. We do have a comment. Liz says, well, Liz, do you want to tell her or?
Hi. Yeah, I was laid off this spring during the pandemic, and I've been taking this time to do the thinking and the wrestling with that why that really resonated with me, and trying to come up with organizing my personal brand. And I'm an Xer, so the personal brand idea is a little bit new to me, and I'm trying to figure that out and plot the next steps along the way. And with school being so unpredictable and not having any family members here to help in the event it goes back and forth to virtual, it's tricky figuring out what to do next career wise, but this is really, really helpful, and I'm excited to learn more and to get the book.
Oh, excellent. Liz, I'm so happy to hear those comments. I as I went through my process, the outplacement firm connecting me with other individuals who had been position eliminated, laid off, whatever the title is. And all I can say is just, I just hope this inspires you to look at this as a positive thing, because in the end of the day, it will be, because you're going to move to your next thing. And it's going to be even better than what you had before. So as you're visualizing that better and just opening up to whatever it could be and not focusing on any limitations, you're going to begin to really enjoy what's ahead of you. So that's my wish for you. And thank you for sharing that. It was a vulnerable moment for you, and I appreciate it.
Good luck to you, Liz. Sorry to hear that.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
We have another comment. Nashana, did you want to say something?
Oh, well, I was just saying that I'm in a position that doesn't really have a direct sort of advancement ladder. And I really enjoy what I'm doing, but I've sort of reached the peak of my position. And it's like the last couple of months, we've really been trying to figure out, how do I move forward, or how do I, I know I want to be in a more leadership position, and we don't have a straight path for that. So just trying to figure out, how do I sort of make a bridge or create a bridge to some new career lane that's not really evident. So I'm excited to, when you're talking about branding, it's something I don't think I've ever really given dedicated time to. I just go about, I think, being, a good person, a good worker, doing the things I'm asked to do, but I don't think I've really been intentional about how I'm marketing myself. So I'm going to be reaching out to get the worksheets and to get the book, so that I can really focus on that, because I know that's definitely a place I need to give some serious attention.
Mm-hmm. Now, Nishana, are you open to moving to a different employer, or are you hoping to stay at the same place and make this move?
I want to stay with the same employer, because I really enjoy, I have, my background is from two very different, I have a background in science, and then also a background in nursing. And so the work I do now is a combination of those two. So I feel like this is a good combination of a lot of my different passions.
Yeah.
So I would like to continue with this same employer.
Exactly. And I think that's an excellent option. I chose to move around a lot in my career, and there's benefits to that. And there's pros and cons to everything. So if you want to stay with your current employer, if there's somebody in the organization that you could go to kind of as a mentor and ask him or her, hey, this is what I'd like to do. I want to invest in this organization. How do I move to the next level? I can almost promise you'll find somebody who will be willing to give you that guidance and even kind of help shepherd you along the way, because it's so rare that people early in their careers will take that step. I've seen a couple of women who've actually read the book and put together their plan come to me and say, hey, I want to move up. I want to do this. And it's like, wow, I'm impressed with that. So please be courageous. And it may not be great the first time, but don't let that make you stop. Just keep plugging away. I think you've got a great future ahead.
Thank you.
How much more time do we have, Ms. Janice? I have one more person who would like to say a comment.
Yeah, I think we've got until the top of the hour. So
Okay. Jessica.
I put my comment in the chat, but this is absolutely on time with almost daily conversations that I have with, I consider my closest confidants. They are my colleagues, and they are on the call. Hey, ladies. We were all supposed to attend in person that day, and that was a tough feat to do, to have three ladies who work together be gone all at the same time without too many questions being asked. But I just thank you for this, and I think we will probably be taking this. We've kind of, especially during the pandemic, have been really focusing on purpose and plans and satisfaction. And this was just wholly on time for that. And, not just on time, but in line with everything that we've been toying with. This is like the nail for it. So
excellent.
Thank you very much for that today.
You are more than welcome, and I can tell you it's not a coincidence.
And you'll be getting an email. No, it's not a coincidence, and that was the exact text message that I sent. I was like, this is a God wink, because this is exactly it lines up perfectly. So thank you very much.
You are quite welcome, and thank you for those comments. It's funny, going back to that March, whatever that day was, and everything was shut down. I mean, I was so excited. I was like,
13th, Friday the 13th.
It was going to be my first presentation, and it was just like went away. And then I was going to go to a conference in Chicago, and that went away. And honestly, I just kind of sat in my self-pity for a while. And I gained my COVID-10. And then I had to just kind of say, okay, girl, bring it back. And I'm just so grateful for this today because it's helping me get back on track with this work. So thank you for that.
Awesome. I have another question. Well, I have two. Will you be open, Ms. Janice, to having maybe a small group, maybe focus group to talk about the book after we have read it and maybe follow some of the steps and maybe get together
Absolutely.
and have like a little book meeting?
Oh, I would love that because
Okay.
that would give me feedback that I need.
Okay.
Since the book is on Amazon, I can change it anytime.
I was just about to say, is it on there?
Yeah, it's like they publish as you order. So I
Okay.
don't have a bunch of books sitting in the corner anywhere. So
Okay.
love that feedback.
Great. Okay.
You guys just let me know if you're interested and we'll set it up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Another question is, have you found that even when you have taken the steps to define your brand, your goals, and your paths, that there have been external factors that have prevented you? Specifically, have there been any constraints with men in leadership understanding that you've underestimating, I don't have my glasses on, I'm sorry, underestimating your value and abilities just because you're a woman?
Yes. I mean, to that last part, yes.
Okay.
And that's what we're working against here, girls. This is what we're going to be pushing away. All that's going to go away. And then in terms of other constraints you might feel, I would just ask you to look inside yourself and see if there's a limiting belief getting in your way. And even if there is a guy or man out there who is not getting you, maybe he doesn't matter. And if he is the person in your organization that makes the decisions, maybe you vote by moving to another organization. And if you decide to do that, as you're interviewing, you find out what's the situation here. Eyes wide open if you make that move. But there may be a way, if you break down some of those limiting beliefs and things that you yourself need to be accountable for and responsible for breaking through, that you can make it work there.
Okay. Awesome.
I remember early in my career, I was at a Kiwanis luncheon in Lake Charles, Louisiana, my first hospital job. And I was so proud of myself. I think it was maybe 25. And I walked into the Kiwanis lunch and it was mostly men, but I was going in there anyway. And this man greeted me. He said, "Well, hey, little lady, what are you doing here?"
Wow.
Thank you. I'll just go back.
Did you say a Kiwanis meeting?
Yes.
Okay, I was the president of Kiwanis Club of South Baton Rouge, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, I just heard about us being able to attend and be president women.
Yay. That's excellent.
Yes. Yeah.
Janice's story just reminded me of a time when I used to fundraise for LSU. And I remember I went to a meeting in Houston at a petroleum club, and I walked in and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I think you're in the wrong room." I was like, I'm not. But it was kind of awkward lunch, but hey, everybody, I'm here.
Yeah, I had that, and I'm an attorney and it's a deposition. And the other attorney knew my boss, I guess. He didn't know me, and we were sitting at the table, the court reporter setting up, and he said, "Would you mind getting us some coffee?" And I said, "Actually, I'll be conducting the deposition today, but I'll be sure to get my assistant to get you some coffee." And he turned so red. But when I tell you, I got in every question, no objections. Like, he was so embarrassed, but he should have been.
Yes.
And I was a young attorney. I might have been 27, 28 at the time, but he asked me to go get the coffee. Yep.
That is probably the worst. And assuming that because you're the female in the room, you'll take the notes.
Yes, yes.
Well, Janice, I just wanted to say that I think the only people who were more sad about us having to cancel the Women's Leadership Conference were the speakers. The only people more sad than me. I do want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today. And I want to thank the training committee for making sure that we were able to do these training sessions with all of our speakers. So thank you to both of you.
Thanks,
That's
Tristy.
good.
Appreciate you. All right. Anything else?
That's
That
it.
email flying to you.
Yay. Guys, I'm really looking forward to connecting.
We have some
Thank
thank
you.
yous and some thumbs ups, Miss Janice. So thank you so much. Narisha, did you have anything or closing you want to say? Or Miss Janice, did you have anything else?
Marisha, you want to go first? Anything?
I'm echoing what Tracy said. First of all, the presentation was absolutely great. As you were sharing, I was like, yes, this makes sense. So thank you for not only sharing with us as a group, but for accepting the responsibility to share with women, one woman at a time. It is something that we have to all embrace and do each day. And we appreciate you being a role model and setting that tone for us. We appreciate that.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for saying that. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this. So thanks again, everyone who spent time here with us today. Share this with your girlfriends. Make sure that we're each holding each other up. And I look forward to staying connected.
Yes, and we look forward to the book club meeting coming up.
Yes, it's gonna be great.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll just stay on a minute, Miss Janice. So.
Thank you, Janice. That was phenomenal. I really appreciate it. This is Monique.
Oh, thanks.
Bridget,
Hey,
you did a great job.
Monique,
Thank you.
if this isn't recorded to the cloud, our Zoom cloud, whoever's got it, just email it to me and I'll get it uploaded tonight or tomorrow. If it's in the
Okay,
cloud,
it's in the cloud.
Perfect. I'll download it later tonight and I'll get it up.
Okay, and Janice is going to send.
Thank you again, Janice.
You too, Katie. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. Janice, you'll email the slides, so we'll have that to send with the video and the survey.
Sure, absolutely.
And if you have any PDFs for any of your forms or what have you, send whatever you'd like to share, okay?
Okay, I will. Thank you so much.
Thanks a bunch. Have a great day, ladies.
Okay,
You
you
too.
too. Thank you. And nice to meet you, Miss Janice.
Thanks, Bridget. You